Beneath the glitz and glamour of the muscle car era lies a darker side, where not all that glitters is gold. Not every muscle car has lived up to the iconic status of its peers. In fact, some have fallen disappointingly short of expectations, plagued by lackluster performance, uninspiring designs, or reliability issues. But which ones truly missed the mark? These are the 10 worst muscle cars ever made. Let's get started. Kicking off our list is the El Camino, a car that left an indelible mark on drivers who cruised the streets between the 60s and 80s, offering an exhilarating experience unlike any other. It was a unique blend of a muscle car and a pickup, equipped with a standard 454 cubic inch LS6 V8 engine and rear-wheel drive, boasting an impressive 365 horsepower. However, its design, styled like a coupe fashion pickup, made the El Camino SS454 challenging to handle. Additionally, it seems somewhat absurd to equip a pickup with 365 horsepower and direct all that power to the rear wheels, especially when it's not being used for hauling. Next up, we have the Dodge Dart, which eventually became a legitimate affordable muscle car. However, before it earned its reputation, there was the 1962 model. Customers had the option of equipping it with a 6.2-litre V8 producing 325 horsepower and 425 pound-foot of torque, or even the drag strip-ready 6.7-litre Ramcharger V8. Yet the engine wasn't the issue. Dodge hastily downsized the Dart to compete with the rumoured downsizing of Chevrolet's large cars, a move that never materialised. This led to the Dart's rushed and awkward styling. Dodge corrected this mistake in 1963, and some revisionist historians view it as an intermediate design. Next, we have the 1970 Plymouth Hemi Barracuda. Yes, we're going there. The 426 cubic inch Hemi engine of the Cuda boasted 425 horsepower and 490 pound-feet of torque, along with an impressive racing pedigree. However, fresh out of the factory, the Cuda had its drawbacks. The steering was imprecise and the suspension allowed a level of body roll that was downright dangerous for a car with that much power. Then there's the build quality, which can only be described as embarrassing for its time. The vast majority of restored versions are brought to a finish better than the factory standard, turning them into the cars they should have been when they first rolled out to dealerships. The DMC-12, famously known from the movie Back to the Future, is iconic for its appearance, but was underwhelming in terms of performance. Its striking stainless steel body and gull-wing doors made a visual impact, but the chassis needed Lotus's expertise for suspension refinement. The car was equipped with a Peugeot Renault Volvo 2.8-litre V6 engine, delivering a mere 130 horsepower. With the automatic transmission, the DMC-12's 0 to 60 mph acceleration was a sluggish 10.5 seconds. Delorean had ambitions to enhance performance with a turbocharged engine, but the company's bankruptcy in 1984 halted these plans before they could come to fruition. At the tail end of the 1970s emerged one of the most disappointing muscle cars, the Dodge Aspen RT Performance Coupe. It sported all the trappings of a high-performance machine, including rally wheels, a blacked-out grille, body striping, and decals and badging that promised something extraordinary. However, beneath the hood, the Aspen RT was anything but special. Its 5.9-litre V8 produced a meagre 170 horsepower and was even barred from California due to its dismal average fuel economy of just 15 miles per gallon. While more fuel efficiency might be forgiven in a speedy car, a quarter-mile time of just over 17 seconds is embarrassingly slow, especially for a car with that much engine displacement. The 1980s continued the downward trend for muscle cars, with the Pontiac Grand Prix 2+2 standing out as one of the most disappointing homologation specials to hit American roads. Dubbed the Aerocoupe for its focus on NASCAR and aerodynamics, one might have expected it to reach the legendary status of the 1969 Dodge Charger Daytona, with its massive nose cone, towering rear wing, and powerful 425 horsepower engine. In stark contrast, the Pontiac Grand Prix 2+2 featured a shorter trunk lid with an integrated spoiler, a contoured rear window, a slightly pointier nose, and a paltry 165 horsepower, because Pontiac couldn't accommodate its larger 180 horsepower V8 in the engine bay. Only 1,225 units were built in 1986, including 200 Richard Petty editions. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pontiac released limited edition cars bearing Richard Petty's name that produced a mere 165 horsepower. Sorry, legend. Back in its prime, the 1964 Oldsmobile Cutlass 442 was a powerhouse with a 5.4-litre V8 engine delivering 310 horsepower, a product of Oldsmobile's horsepower battle with Pontiac. But the narrative would soon change, as we are going to see next. The 442 moniker stood for its 4-barrel carburetor, 4-speed manual transmission, and dual exhausts. However, the introduction of the 4th-generation Cutlass with the 442 package fell short of expectations. Despite its attractive appearance and the great sound of its 5-litre V8, the coupe version disappointingly produced only 160 horsepower. The sedan wasn't much of an improvement, offering just 170 horsepower. Oldsmobile attempted to revive the 442 badge twice after the 4th generation, but even the 1990 6th-generation model only reached 190 horsepower, a far cry from its illustrious beginnings. Before we get to the next car, a sub to the channel would be revving up the channel. Also, please turn on the post notification bell. With that done, let's get back to it. The Mercury Bobcat Runabout, introduced in the early 1970s, was essentially a rebadged Ford Pinto, inheriting the same notorious flaws that tainted its counterpart. Among its most significant issues were safety concerns related to its fuel tank placement, which rendered it prone to fires in the event of rear-end collisions. This safety hazard severely damaged its reputation, earning the Bobcat Runabout the unfortunate distinction of being one of the least safe cars of its era. Its close association with the infamous Pinto only further detracted from its appeal. The Chevrolet Camero, a formidable challenger to the Ford Mustang, had high expectations for its second generation. However, the 1975 model year brought several changes that didn't necessarily equate to improvements. This was the year GM introduced catalytic converters to all their US cars, including the Camero, which further reduced the power output of the already detuned vehicle. As a result, the Camero was left with a 145 horsepower 5.7-litre V8 engine. To add insult to injury, Chevrolet discontinued the Z28 package, eliminating the option for performance upgrades. Later in the year, the engine received a modest boost to 155 horsepower, but this was hardly enough to reclaim its status as a performance leader. And now we arrive at what many consider the most disappointing muscle car ever produced, the Ford Mustang II. This is particularly surprising given the monumental success of its predecessor, the first-generation Mustang, which ignited the muscle car and pony car craze, drawing nearly every American manufacturer into the fray. Despite strong sales, the Mustang II left much to be desired. Initially, it lacked a V8 option, offering only a 2.3-litre four-cylinder or a 2.8-litre V6. It wasn't until the second year of production that a 4.9-litre V8 was introduced, but even this engine underwhelmed, producing just 140 horsepower and achieving a 0 to 60 mph time of 10.5 seconds, with a quarter-mile speed of 106 mph. From the pinnacle of performance with the Boss 429 to the depths with the King Cobra, the Mustang II's fall from grace was both dramatic and disheartening. Which other muscle cars do you think should be on this list? Please let us know in the comments section. Catch more videos from the channel at the end of the screen. Until the next one, be safe.